Women can no longer hide their true essence, and you're losing time, money, and your sanity by not seeing it. Starting today, you're going to learn to decode what they truly are, not what they pretend to be. Do you think women are complex and mysterious? You've been misled. The supposed female complexity is just a smokescreen for primitive behavioral patterns that are now, in the digital age, more exposed than ever. Every Instagram story, every unanswered message, every emotional test she puts you through is a piece of evidence. And you, my friend, are about to become a field detective, capable of reading this evidence like an open book. I'm going to tell you something no one has had the courage to say. Contemporary social dynamics and digital exposure haven't changed women. They've merely amplified and made visible the patterns that have always existed. It's as if someone turned a spotlight on a dark room. What was there all along is now illuminated, glaring, impossible to ignore. Except you keep ignoring it. Why? Because you've been trained since childhood to idealize, to put women on pedestals, to believe that love conquers all. A lie. Love without awareness is just a recipe for being used and discarded. Do you know Mark? 32 years old, a software engineer, smart enough to program complex systems, but too foolish to read the obvious signs she was throwing in his face. He met a woman on Instagram, of course. She sent hearts, replied to stories with fire emojis, seemed super interested, but in person, always on her phone, always evasive about the future, never took initiative for anything. 3 months later, hundreds of dollars spent on dinners, and he discovered he was just an entertainment option while she collected validation from 5 other guys. The cost? It wasn't just the 3 months or the money. It was the erosion of his self-esteem, the feeling of having been made a fool of. And you know the worst part? The signs were there from the very first date. Let me name the first pattern you need to identify for you. The social mirror test. Here's how it works. She acts one way when she's with you, face to face, and a completely different way in her natural habitat of social media. If her persona on the date is that of a reserved and traditional woman, but her Instagram is full of provocative photos and interactions with other men, you have a problem. It's not complexity, it's inconsistency. And inconsistency is the first sign that you're dealing with someone who doesn't have a solid core, just convenient masks. Are you starting to understand? Let me elaborate. The dance of selective scarcity is the second pattern. Pay close attention to this. She's always too busy for you, but miraculously finds time for happy hour with friends, to binge watch a series, for anything except investing in a relationship with you. This isn't a coincidence. It's a clear demonstration of where you stand in her hierarchy of priorities. And spoiler, alert, you're not at the top. Your plan B, maybe C. You're the guy she keeps orbiting while she waits for something better to come along. There's more. The window of reactivity under pressure. Want to know someone's true essence? Observe how she reacts when things don't go exactly as planned. You arrive 5 minutes late, and she throws a disproportionate fit. You politely disagree with something, and she treats you with contempt. That's her true face, my friend. When the pressure mounts, even minimally, the mask falls. And what do you see underneath? Usually, it's not pretty. The external validation barometer is another crucial indicator. Where does her self-esteem come from? If the answer is Instagram likes, comments from strangers, constant male attention, you have a serious problem. A woman who depends on external validation is a bottomless pit. No matter how much you invest, it will never be enough. She will always need more, always seek outside what she should find within herself or in the relationship with you. Do you think I'm being too harsh? Let me tell you about Tim, 28 years old, a marketing analyst, a whole year systematically destroyed by a woman who claimed to love him. She criticized his appearance, his job, compared him to ex-boyfriends, and when he tried to set boundaries, tears, emotional manipulation. "You don't understand me," she'd say, and he, poor guy, believed the problem was his. A year later, his self-esteem in tatters, he finally woke up. But the damage was already done. The pattern was there from the beginning, but he chose not to see it. The ideal self curtain is particularly insidious. It's the discrepancy between who she says she is and who she demonstrates herself to be. Through consistent actions. She describes herself as adventurous and independent, but never plans anything, never takes initiative, always expects you to do everything. That's not shyness, it's emotional laziness disguised as traditional femininity. You're dating a fantasy, not a real person. Now pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. The intermittent reinforcement effect. This is the cruelest and most effective trick. One day, she's all affection, passionate messages, amazing sex. The next day, coldness, distance, as if you're a stranger. No explanation, no apparent reason. Do you know what this does to your brain? It creates a chemical dependency similar to that of a gambling addict. You keep chasing that good moment, that version of her that appears sporadically. It's pure psychological manipulation, even if she doesn't do it consciously. The hidden reciprocity scale reveals the fundamental imbalance. Calculate how much you invest versus how much she invests. I'm not just talking about money, though that counts too. Time, emotional energy, planning, initiative. If you're always giving and she's always receiving, you're not in a relationship. You are a provider of emotional and material resources. Nothing more. Luke learned this the hard way. 35 years old, a successful businessman. He found a woman who seemed perfect. Independent, ambitious, aligned values. A few months later, the financial emergency started. There was always a problem. She always needed help. He, naive, helped, until the day he subtly confronted her, and she admitted it. She was testing his generosity, seeing how far she could push him. No real intention of commitment, just extracting benefits. He pulled away immediately, but it was almost too late. You're making fatal mistakes and don't even realize it. First mistake, ignoring the initial signs. You see the red flags, but your brain rationalizes. She must be nervous. It's just a phase. It'll get better. It won't. Past behavior predicts future behavior. If she disrespected you in the first month, she'll disrespect you in the 10th. The difference is that by the 10th, you've already invested too much to leave easily. Second mistake, seeking her validation. The more you try to win her over, the less attractive you become. It's counterintuitive, I know, but women don't respect men who beg for attention. They respect men who have self-worth, who don't depend on female approval to feel complete. Every time you pay for an expensive dinner hoping to impress her, you're communicating desperation, not value. Third mistake, confronting her emotionally. You discover a lie, a betrayal, a manipulation, and you explode. Anger, accusations, drama. Do you know what happens? She turns the tables. Suddenly, you're the crazy one, the controlling one, the problematic one. You completely lose the frame. Calmness is your greatest weapon. Calculated indifference, your shield. Fourth mistake, idealizing potential. You're not dating who she could be. You're dating who she is now. If she's inconsistent now, she'll be inconsistent in the future. If she's manipulative now, she'll be manipulative when you live together. Stop betting on potential and start evaluating the present reality. Fifth mistake, forgiving without consequences. She breaks a promise, you forgive. She disrespects a boundary, you overlook it. She lies, you pretend not to see. What are you teaching? That your words have no weight, that your boundaries are suggestions, that she can do whatever she wants without repercussions. And guess what? She'll do exactly that. Sixth mistake, giving in to avoid conflict. You give up your desires, your boundaries, your authenticity, all to maintain peace. But what kind of peace is that? It's the peace of the graveyard. You're dying inside, accumulating resentment, and she's losing respect for you with every concession you make. Do you want an action plan? I'll give you one. First, observe actively. Stop listening to what she says and start observing what she does. Actions reveal character. Words are smoke. Especially observe how she acts when you're not around. What does she post? Who does she interact with? How does she talk about you to others? Second, test subtly. I'm not talking about playing games. I'm talking about small character tests. Ask for a simple favor. Set a small boundary. See how she reacts. If she reacts poorly to small tests, imagine how she'll react to serious life situations. Third, establish clear boundaries. No drama, no excessive emotion. This is acceptable, This is not. Simple as that. If she respects them, great. If not, you have your answer. High-value women respect men with boundaries. Problematic women see them as challenges to be broken. Fourth, disengage from emotional reactivity. Does she provoke you? Don't react. Does she create drama? Stay calm. Does she try to manipulate you? Observe as if you were a scientist, studying an experiment. Your calm is power. Your reactivity is weakness. Fifth, prioritize congruence. If words don't match actions, believe the actions, always, without exception. She says she loves you but doesn't show it? It's not love. She promises to change but repeats the same patterns? She won't change. Congruence is non-negotiable. Sixth, be ready to disinvest. This is the most important. If negative patterns persist, if boundaries are constantly violated, you need to have the courage to leave. It's not giving up. It's protecting yourself. It's choosing your mental sanity over a romantic fantasy. Are you worried this is too calculating? That it takes the magic out of romance? Let me clarify something. Romance without reciprocity is fantasy. Love without respect is dependency. A relationship without balance is exploitation. I'm not teaching you to be cynical. I'm teaching you to be conscious. True magic happens when two authentic people, with clear boundaries and mutual respect, choose to build something together. Not when a lovesick fool subsidizes the lifestyle and ego of someone who doesn't reciprocate the investment. Do you think I'm generalizing? I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about behavioral patterns that manifest frequently enough to warrant your attention. There are extraordinary women out there. Women who invest, who respect, who build together. But you'll never find them if you keep wasting time on those who only know how to extract. And if you're wondering if you're just projecting your insecurities, stop. Objective observation of behavior isn't projection, it's analysis. When she cancels 3 dates in a row, it's not your insecurity, it's a pattern. When she disappears for days and comes back as if nothing happened, it's not your paranoia, it's inconsistency. Trust what you see, not what you wish were true. Women test boundaries as a form of selection. It's evolutionary. It's in their DNA. They want to know if you have a backbone, if you're strong enough to lead her, protect her, not necessarily in a physical sense, but emotionally and psychologically. When you constantly fail these tests, when you show yourself to be weak, pliable, without your own direction, she loses attraction. It's not malice. It's biology. But you've been taught to be nice, understanding, to always give in, and that's costing you dearly. The intermittent reinforcement I mentioned? It's the same technique used in casinos to create gambling addicts. Variable, unpredictable reward. The human brain becomes obsessed, trying to discover the pattern, trying to predict when the next reward will come. She gives you attention and affection irregularly, and you become addicted, always waiting for the next dose. Is it manipulation? Most of the time, it's not conscious. But the effect is the same. You become an emotional beggar, pleading for scraps of attention. You need to understand one fundamental thing. In the modern dating market, male attention is abundant and cheap. Any minimally attractive woman has dozens of men in her DMs, ready to do anything for a chance. This has created a massive inflation of the female ego and a brutal devaluation of male attention. Do you think you're competing with other men? No, you're competing with the infinite validation she receives online, with the dopamine from likes, with the fantasy that there's always someone better just a swipe away. But here's the secret no one tells you. High-value women, the ones who are truly worthwhile, don't play these games. They don't need to. They have their own substance, their own goals. They don't depend on constant external validation. They invest in those who invest in them. They respect boundaries because they have their own. They are consistent because they are self-assured. The problem is, you're so busy chasing the problematic ones that you don't have enough energy left to recognize the exceptional ones. Do you know the biggest indicator that you're with the wrong woman? You feel constantly confused. You don't know where you stand. One day she loves you, the next she barely recognizes you. You live on an emotional roller coaster, always trying to decipher her mood, always walking on eggshells. That's not love. It's psychological warfare, and you're losing. Now, I'm going to tell you about the mistakes men make trying to solve this. First, they try to talk, to have a relationship discussion. They think communication solves everything. Newsflash: women who play these games are masters at turning the tables in conversations. You go in wanting to solve a problem and come out apologizing for things you didn't even do. The conversation becomes about her feelings, her needs, her traumas, and your original problem? Forgotten. Second, they increase their investment. They think that if they give more attention, more gifts, more time, she'll finally value them. Fatal mistake. The more you give to someone who doesn't value it, the more you communicate that your time and resources have no worth. It's like throwing money into a bonfire, hoping it will go out. It will only burn brighter. You need to understand the psychology of scarcity. People value what's hard to get, not what's handed to them. When you're always available, always responding to messages instantly, always saying yes, you become predictable, boring, worthless. Attraction dies in predictability. She needs to feel that she could lose you, that you have options, that your time is valuable and limited. But be careful. I'm not telling you to play games or be a jerk. I'm telling you to have your own life, your own goals, your own standards. When you have that, scarcity becomes natural, not manufactured. You're genuinely busy building your life, not pretending to be busy to seem interesting. I'll be even more direct. If you need to convince someone to stay with you, you've already lost. If you need to beg for basic attention, basic respect, basic consideration, you're with the wrong person. The right relationship flows. It's not perfect, it has challenges, but the basics, the fundamentals, respect and mutual investment, that shouldn't be a battle. Do you know that saying about teaching pigs to sing? You waste your time and annoy the pig. It's the same with women who lack the capacity or interest in a healthy relationship. You can give your best. You can be the perfect boyfriend. You can do everything right. If she doesn't have the emotional maturity, the capacity for reciprocity, the necessary character, nothing you do will change that. You can't love someone into being a good partner. It doesn't work that way. So what works? Rigorous selection from the start. Stop falling for appearance, for potential, for fantasy. Start evaluating behavior, consistency, character. The first 3 months are crucial. That's when the masks are still firm, but they start to slip. Pay attention to the small slips, the little inconsistencies. They reveal what's to come. And here's a hard truth. Most men aren't ready for healthy relationships either. You've been raised in a culture that romanticizes suffering for love, that glorifies unilateral sacrifice, that teaches that a man must endure everything to be considered strong. A lie. Strength is having boundaries. Strength is knowing your worth. Strength is choosing to leave situations that diminish you. You need to do internal work first. Discover your non-negotiable values. Understand your destructive patterns. Heal your emotional wounds that make you accept crumbs as if they were feasts. Because until you do that, you'll keep attracting the same type of problematic woman, just with different faces. The truth is, women respect men who respect themselves. They invest in men who demonstrate self-worth. They are loyal to men who uphold their standards. But most men are so desperate for female validation that they accept anything. And when you accept anything, that's exactly what you get. I'm going to share one final secret. The greatest power you have in a relationship is the ability to walk away. Not as a threat, not as manipulation, but as a reality. When she knows deep down that you have the strength and willingness to leave. If your standards aren't met, everything changes. Suddenly, she starts investing. Suddenly, respect appears. Suddenly, the games stop. Why? Because you've demonstrated that you have options, that you have value, that you don't need her to be complete. But most men are so afraid of loneliness that they prefer a bad relationship to no relationship at all. And women know this. They sense this desperation. And that kills any possibility of genuine attraction. You become an emotional doormat, useful, convenient, but never respected, never truly desired. Time is running out. Every day you spend with the wrong woman is one day less with the right one. Every emotional investment in someone who doesn't reciprocate is energy stolen from your personal growth. Every moment of confusion and drama is a moment of peace and clarity you'll never get back. You have two choices now. Continue in the same pattern, expecting different results, being used, manipulated, disrespected, living on scraps of attention and affection. Or wake up. Open your eyes, see the patterns, set boundaries, demand reciprocity, choose quality over quantity, choose respect over empty passion. The decision is yours. But let me be clear about one thing. If you choose to keep sleeping, if you choose to ignore everything I've revealed here, don't complain when the next woman uses and discards you. Don't play the victim when the same patterns repeat. You've been warned. You have the tools. You know the signs. The question isn't whether women will continue to show their true essence. They will. Technology, social media, modern culture, all of it just amplifies what was always there. The question is whether you'll keep pretending not to see, whether you'll keep deluding yourself with pretty words while ignoring ugly actions, whether you'll continue to be a blind detective in your own love life. Share in the comments a situation where you perceived someone's true essence through a pattern of behavior, not just words, and what you did or would do about it. I want to know if you have the courage to face the truth or if you'll continue living in fantasy. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is another second living a lie or another second building an authentic life. Women can no longer hide their true essence. The question is, can you see? Or rather, do you want to see? Because deep down, way deep down, you always knew. You just chose to ignore it. Until now.